Hi, I'm Paul, and in this video series, we'll explore how to create a powerful habit tracker and journal in Obsidian. I'll show you how to build a cycles and reviews dashboard that helps you easily reflect on every aspect of your life organizer. You'll learn how to track daily habits, enter journal notes, and create a dedicated space for meaningful reflection to uncover patterns and insights in your life. If you are an Obsidian user struggling to set up a practical journal or habit tracker, this video series is for you. By the end of this series, you will have actionable strategies to track your habits and journal more efficiently in Obsidian. Join me as we dive in and start optimizing your workflow. Core components: journals, habit trackers, cycles, and reviews. What are journals? The purpose of a journal is to make a place to capture your thoughts, reflections, and personal growth. You can use your journal to reflect on your past, present, and future, gaining insights into your personal growth and development. Journals can be used to track goals, habits, and progress towards personal objectives. Journaling can stimulate creativity and inspire new ideas. Writing a journal can help you reduce stress and anxiety, especially when you learn more about how your brain works. The benefits of journaling is you have an enhanced self-awareness, reduces stress and anxiety, boosts creativity, and it's a place to store your private notes. What are cycles and reviews? Cycles and reviews allow us to reflect on progress, identify trends, and plan future actions. These can be organized as daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly reviews. They provide insight, enhance goal setting, and improve productivity. What are habit trackers? Habit trackers monitor daily habits to encourage consistency and personal development. The benefits of a habit tracker is it will improve your accountability, you'll have somewhere to track your progress, and it will help you identify patterns. Examples of habits could be gym workouts, walking the dog, reading, learning, healthy eating, or meditation. LifeOS, showcasing my previous system. We'll start off by jumping into Notion, and I want to just show you how I used to track my habits, write journal notes, and review and reflect on the weeks, months, quarters, and years. So we'll start off with the habit tracker. I used to have a little view of a checkbox table with all my habits listed on the left-hand side from Monday to Sunday. Then I used to set myself a goal of how many times I would want to complete each habit for the week. And if I completed the habit, then I'd have a little weekly status update here. So if I was working on Notion on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, then my goal was 2 days a week. So I'd reach my goal. So it would tell me that my goal had been reached. And if I'd only done it once on the Wednesday, then it just gave me a little bit of a keep it up. And then if I didn't have anything, sometimes I'd set it to keep going just to try encourage myself to continue doing that particular habit. And then once I'd finished that habit for the week, I'd move it into the month down here. And then I'd have a template for the month, which would list the theme, what would make it awesome, what there was to be grateful for, achievements, disappointments, lows, challenges, what I was learning, and wins for the month. And then they would all link back to weeks, quarters, years. And I'd also have my habits completed for that particular month. So it was nice to have a snapshot overview in Notion. So back on the dashboard, I'll jump into the write a journal note. And I used to take my notes as daily agendas, ideas, learning notes, or personal journal entries. And then they all used to go into the old notebooks databases. And I had a section for each. So I could quickly just jump in here and grab out any notes or journal entries from Notion. The main useful thing I found was cycles and reviews, and this was for tracking weeks, months, quarters throughout the year. And I could also add my achievements and disappointments in here. So if we just jump into the weeks, you can see that I had all the weeks listed on the left-hand side here when I'd entered this weekly review, the month that it corresponded to, the effectiveness of the month. And then there was just a few little brief summaries here of what I was grateful for, what I could have improved on, what the objectives were, then what the achievements and disappointments were for that particular week, and the focus for the week. And then after the week was completed, at the end of the month, you'd do a monthly review, would gather all the weeks together and give you a snapshot of the month. And this was quite handy because it told you what quarter it was in. You've got some really nice information here for the month, such as what was the theme, what was the win for the month, what did you achieve, what were you disappointed with, what were the lows, the challenges, and what were you grateful for. So it was quite handy to have this review, and I really love how easy it is to do this in Notion. We'll jump into the achievements, and the achievements was just what worked and just a quick summary of what the achievement was and the week, the month, or the quarter that the achievement was achieved. So now I want to showcase how this works in Obsidian and give you some ideas on how you can create a similar workflow in your Obsidian Vault. Transition to Obsidian, my journey. So we'll jump inside Obsidian and I'll navigate down to my Manage Workspace layouts. I'll open Cycles and Reviews, and that's going to reveal my tile layout for my daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly journals. Also got here a place to add achievements, disappointments, check my daily habits, and also review my goal systems. So let's check out all the sections of the Cycles and Reviews workspace dashboard. We'll first jump into our daily journal. And inside here, we have a little icon of a calendar with the word daily. And then we have a few buttons to get to other areas of Cycles and Reviews. We have a little filter here to filter our months. So if we want to filter to the current month, which is September, we can change that and we can view the daily notes in September, and we can have a look at the mood, highlight, and focus. If we do want to add more fields in this data view query, we can. And if we also want to make it change, we can do that with our CSS classes up the top here. So that's just a handy one to have. If we do want to add a daily journal for today, we can do so by clicking the button here, or we can just simply navigate to the calendar down here and hit the Create a New Daily Note. So we'll go ahead and do that, and that's going to reveal today's daily note. And then we have up here our properties, and we have a whole bunch of YAML properties here. Some of these are pulled in automatically, such as the date, the weeks, the quarter, the month, and the year. We have a couple of tags here, my daily and my journal. And we've also got a few metadata in a callout hidden here as well, just in case any of these templater functions fail. We do have a file over here, and that can be hidden away. Our habit tracker is embedded in our daily note. So we can say we've worked on Obsidian today and we might have gone for a walk or a run and learnt something. So we can toggle those three on there, and we can see that it toggles those as true in our YAML property here. We've got a random note. So today's random note is the MetaBind habit tracker. And if we bring that one up, we can see that we have our embedded MetaBind habit tracker here, which is used on the daily template. And that is just simply a table with some MetaBind buttons inside of it. So we can close our random note for today. And then we can see we've got our daily journal. So we might be learning Obsidian. Our focus is our cycles and reviews. And if we want to see if this is working, you can either click down the bottom right-hand side where it says properties, or select up the top here if you already have it, brings up your properties. And then we can see as we type in where it's populating our metadata YAML properties. So overall mood today might be content, and we can see it's loaded content in our daily mood. Today's highlight is journaling. It does have a spell checker, so we can right click and fix up any spelling mistakes. So what caught my interest today? Obsidian, content creation, and then you just put anything you want to get off your mind in here. So we have sections for what excited me today, what went right today, what went wrong. So you can see as we're entering our metadata, it's populating over to the right-hand side here. Put 3 things you're grateful for. It might be, you can add any ideas you've discovered today. Got a couple of data view queries here to list the files created today and then the files modified today. And then below that, just have a navigation. We also have some action items to go to other areas of our vault. So next we'll jump into the weekly reviews. And inside here, we have our little icon of the calendar with the word weeks and our quick menu. And we have a data view query listing our weekly reviews with a few fields full of information. We open up last week, which was week 37, this one here. We can see if we have a look at our metadata, we have what we were learning for the week's focus, the mood, the week effectiveness, when it started and ended, the day, any habits or journals we entered for that week. So we entered one on the 10th of September here. And then we've got a little weekly habit tracker, which tells us what habits we completed on the 10th of September. So we had gym, reading, Obsidian. Then we have a few notes here for our weekly review, such as what did we achieve this week, what was worth remembering, what lessons were learnt, what could you have done better, what are you finding hard to let go, what would you like to achieve next week, what are you watching, reading, or learning, and what are you grateful for? At the bottom, I've just got a little action items to link to some daily reminders, my focus, my YouTube channel, to cycles and reviews. So we don't have our weekly review created for this week. So there's a couple of ways we can create it. We can either click on the calendar here where the number 38 is, and that'll prompt us to create a new weekly note. Or we can use our button here, new weekly note, and it just goes and creates the notes. And you can see it's done that down the bottom here. Then we can go ahead and see that we've got our data pulled in, such as our week, quarter, month, and our year, and the date added. And we've got a class called Habit Tracker applied with a couple of tags at the top there. Now we can go fill in our data, so we can have a look on the right hand side here. So learning, Obsidian, and then that pops it over to the right there under WR learning. This week's focus, cycles and reviews, habit tracker. We can put our overall mood for the week. We can put the week effectiveness out of 5 stars, and we can rate our week, whether it was good, okay, could have been better, or it was a bad one. So we'll just put okay week. And it's going to tell us when the week starts, when the week ends. So we're starting on the 15th, ending on the 21st. Today is the 19th. And we can skip through to the days that we've entered some journal notes here, if we want to, through here. And then we just have a quick snapshot of the weekly habits. So we can see what we achieved on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And we can see a green tick for any habit that we completed and a red cross for any that we didn't complete. Then we've got a few weekly review notes below there. So what did we achieve this week? If you make a spelling mistake, you can always right click and select the correct spelling. So once you've entered in all your weekly journal notes, they'll appear in your metadata on the right hand side here. I've got a little data view query here of the notes created this week, and that's just a good snapshot to see what notes you created for the week. And then there's some action items, much like the daily journal. So when you're happy, you can go back to your cycles and reviews. This one is the old cycles and reviews that I had. So if we have a look over here, originally I had cycles and reviews set up as weeks, months, quarters, and years, achievements and disappointments, all on one page. And then I decided to migrate that into one dashboard. So the next one we have is monthly reviews. So if we jump into our monthly reviews, we can review our monthly reviews. And then we can see here we have the month, the wins for the month, theme, to make awesome, achievements, disappointments, highlights, lows and challenges, gratitude, lessons learned, self-care, effectiveness, next month's focus and learning. And this can be less or more depending on what you want. You can also add a filter here when these months start building up. I've only got 2 at the moment. So if we open up September, we can see it's much similar to the weekly and the daily. We've got all metadata here. Open up our right pane, we can see we have our metadata here as well. So we have basically what's shown here on the left-hand side, all pulling into this data view query. We just go down to the bottom of our weekly review and we can see we have an action plan, and these usually live under the plans folder within your journal folder, or you could just simply call it action plans. And then because these are dynamic, it will just update on the fly. So you could call this September action plan. Then you've got the month beginning with the month ending. We've got quick links to the next month and the previous month. We have a quick snapshot of our monthly habit tracker results. We can see here that we had 7 journal entries with all their habit trackers entered. And then we also have the action items down the bottom where we can quickly jump to another section. All right, so we'll close out of that, go back to our cycles and reviews. The next one be our quarterly reviews. So we can jump in there and we've got a little quarter reminder of when the quarters are. So we're currently in Q3, which is September. And if we want to add a new quarterly review, we've got a button here to do so. We can open up Q3 and we can have a look at our properties here, or we can open up our slide pane and see our properties here as well. And then we can see what's working, what's not working, changes to plan or approach, any new creative ideas or ideas floating around in your head, what are this quarter's value goals, and you can link to a database if you want to have a list of your value goals in there. Same for goal outcomes. You can have a link to goal outcomes, and then there's just a snapshot of all the notes created for the quarter, and that's just simply a data view query, and then a link back to the original cycles and reviews. The next section is going to be years. If we jump into years, we can see we have some highlights from January through to December. These can be filled out throughout the year. Same goes for major milestones, gratitude, challenges, career goals, unfulfilled relationships, as well as looking forward. We've got a button to add a new yearly review. And if we just open up the 2024 yearly review, you can see that we have our key events up the top. Then we have our highlights for the month. You can put your major milestones in here, gratitude, challenges and obstacles, professional and academic growth goals inside this field, unfulfilled aspirations, anything you want to list about relationships and connections, looking forward into the future, a little note. And you can even put a key message at the bottom as a little reminder each year before going into the next year. So the next section is achievements. If we jump into our achievements, we have a button to add a new achievement. We have a search field for when our achievements start filling up. And then we have a data view query listing all of our achievements here. So we just want to add our achievements by hitting the button, and then it's going to ask us to enter the achievement. Once you've entered your achievement summary and what worked, you'll be able to see it in your YAML properties. And then to get back to the achievements dashboard, you hit the achievements button, and then it shows it here. So the next section is disappointments. In here, we have our menu up the top. We have our search field for when we want to search through disappointments. Then we have a data view query listing the name of the disappointment, the date created, the summary, and what could have been done better. We want to add a disappointment. we hit the Add New Disappointment button, and then we enter the name of our disappointment. We have a disappointment summary. Once you've entered your 2 fields, they will appear in the YAML properties here. Then when you navigate back to disappointments, it will be listed in the data view query with the date added, the summary, and what you could have done better. Then we'll jump into daily habits. So in daily habits, we have a few different options. We can do a side-by-side comparison as our first option. So that's going to allow us to select a month, so in this case August, and compare it with this month, which is September. You could do this for any months of the year. And then you can just see your habits from the 2 months, whether you've increased or decreased, so that you can keep on track. The other option is you just select the month that you want to filter. It's just a 1 month at a time. Third option is you can do the last 2 months. So it's just a static last 2 months. Some people might like that. The fourth option is pretty much the same as the option above, where you compare the 2 months, but instead of side by side, there's one here and there's one below. And then the last option is a community plugin called Contribution Graph. And this just plots it on a little graph that you can customize, and you can just select your habit and it'll just color code on the graph here. So that's another option that you can investigate in. Last but not least, our goal systems. And then in here, you want to put your value and your goal outcomes. And you just want to put a little reminder to fall in love with systems, not goals. So none of this is to say that goals are useless. Goals are good for planning your progress, and systems are good for actually making progress. So goals can provide direction and push you forward in the short term, but eventually a well-designed system will always win. So having a system is what matters, and committing to the process is what makes the difference. So that's just a little reminder. And then it tells us what value goals are, which are meaningful and relevant. They're not measurable, and they highlight what's really important to you, whereas goal outcomes move us towards a specific measurable outcome. And you can go in and either list them out as dot points, or you can create a goals database to list all your goals in there. And that's the same for goal outcomes as well. You could have like a separate database, or you could just list them all here. So now that we've showcased how the dashboard works, the next part of the video series is going to show you how to set up each section. This concludes part 1, Introduction to Core Components. Coming up in the series is part 2, setting up your Obsidian LifeOS.